It's time for me to earn my coffee mug again. My friend Renee is really smart and knows a lot of theology and stuff from the Bible. And a couple of years ago, she awarded me with a special coffee mug. It says, #1 Heretic for 2018. She felt I deserved it. You see, I'm not afraid to go public about my disagreements with classical Christian doctrine. And today, I want to go on record once again as a heretic. Have you ever heard of the 39 Articles? This is a document of faith from the English Reformation of the 16th century, when the English church, the mother church of our own Episcopal church, broke from the authority of the Roman Pope. The document is called the Articles of Religion, and it's a list of beliefs held by our church back then. You can find it in the back of the prayer book in a section called Historical Documents of the Church. Article 9 is the one I want to reject today. It's called Original or Birth Sin. It says that every baby born is full of sin. It says that every baby, and I quote here, deserveth God's wrath and damnation. Every baby born. Now, this reminds me of the man who was a bachelor, of course, who said a baby can be defined as a loud noise at one end and no sense of responsibility at the other. I have had 2 babies, 3 grandbabies, a whole bunch of nieces and nephews, so I know a little bit about babies. I'm not saying they are ideal citizens from the start. A baby is selfish, of course, because that baby has to survive. But in spite of the nasty colic my son had when he was born, which caused him to shriek for weeks on end, I do not believe he was twisted and evil. He may be now, but he wasn't back then. He was beautiful. Christianity sometimes talks about original sin, the doctrine that every baby born deserves God's wrath and condemnation. I reject that. Instead of original sin, I choose to think about original blessing. I remember the Genesis creation story with its recurring refrain. God created this and saw that it was good. God created that and saw that it was good. God created everything and saw that it was very good. Now, it was not just back in the 16th century that Christianity went to the dark side. Farther back, in the 4th century, one of the most influential church leaders of all time was at work. His name was Augustine, or some people pronounce it Augustine. He taught again and again that human nature is evil and unrighteous, and that every baby is tainted with original sin like a disease inherited from the parents. And Augustine's teaching became the standard line in the Western Christian tradition. But remember my coffee mug. As a one-time holder of the Heretic of the Year award, I prefer another Christian teacher of the 4th century. He was British, he was Celtic, and Augustine, who was a Roman living in northern Africa, did not like this man at all. His name was Pelagius. Augustine trashed his reputation so badly, Pelagius became known ever since as the preeminent English heretic. You see, Roman Christians who followed Augustine's teaching did not like the way Pelagius looked at babies. Pelagius believed that every child born is in the image of God. And he believed that those babies of mine and the grandchildren came fresh from God and share the original unspoiled goodness of creation. Pelagius did not believe in original sin, but he affirmed original blessing. Of course, children grow up and fall into mischief and sometimes into harmful or evil behaviors. But Pelagius could not look at a newborn and call that child depraved. As a heretic myself, I side with Pelagius in this debate rather than with Augustine. And you know, that means that I side with Jesus, actually. Jesus treated children the way he treated all of the underdogs. In the ancient world, children were at best only tolerated. Sometimes children were viewed as expendable. But do you remember the time Jesus got angry at his disciples? There were some parents who brought some babies and little children to Jesus, hoping that he would bless them. Well, the self-important disciples tried to stop them. Jesus got angry and insisted on receiving these children. He took them into his arms and he blessed them on their way. Or how about the way Jesus held children up as an example and a model of trust? Unless you receive the kingdom of God like a child, Jesus said, you will never enter it. So I think about the attitude of Jesus toward children, and I think about the attitude of Pelagius toward children, and I think about my own children and my grandchildren, and all the children who have delighted and blessed us here at St. Mark's. Like Pelagius, I look into the face of a newborn and see God's goodness and God's blessing. Maybe I'm a heretic, but I think this is the first thing we should teach people in church. Not that we are all sinners, although I know we are, but that first of all, we are cherished and we are loved. So in honor of my coffee mug, and along with Pelagius, and along with Jesus, I say to all of you children of God, you are blessed. You are treasured. You are loved forever and always. Amen.